Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. So we're back with another exciting episode of Fire Force episode 5. On the last episode of Fire Force, we had a lot of nuggets dropped the last episode. Um, over the past few episodes, the very first time we were introduced to Infernals, in fact, we were given the impression that these were mindless monsters to some extent that had to be put down. There was no redemption for them. But over the past two episodes, we've seen the very first time, 2 episodes ago, when one of a father turned into an infernal, but rather than going on a rampage, he used the last bit of will that he had left to just sit quietly there and wait for them to come and actually put him to rest. And then the last episode, we now know that infernals can, in fact, maintain their subconscious, and this adds an interesting, dilemma for Shinnor and his team, because I imagine the other fire companies probably wouldn't care about something like that. They just kill you regardless. But our team here, who have their suspicions about how these infernals are being created, and they now know that it is possible for for an infernal to maintain its subconscious. And this guy did in fact say it. I mean, he was at one point begging Shinnor not to kill him. Mind you, he's not a good guy, and he probably didn't mean it. But it does raise a question: have there been instances where infernals have maintained their subconscious and they've asked for mercy and they were put down regardless? And of course, is there a way to actually turn them back? Or if our suspicions are correct and the three entities that are controlling the fire companies do in fact know what is causing the transformations, or in my theory, they are in fact manufacturing the infernals. It's no coincidence that this particular guy, who seems to know more than he's saying, in the middle of his trial would combust, right? Rather than have him locked up, it'd be a lot easier to have him taken out, right? So it does raise the question: are these infernals being artificially created, which I believe is the case, and is it possible to actually turn them back? So that's the dilemma that our heroes are going to be faced with. The other companies seems to be a bit ruthless, so they'll just put them down regardless of whether they maintain their humanity or not. But our team very likely won't. And as we saw in the last episode, Hibana from the Fifth Company, who interjected and wanted to take over, because she claims, because she has a science division, she wants to conduct some research and find out how it is that he is able to maintain his subconscious, which we pretty much can tell that that's a bold-faced lie. Odds are some experimentation that are going to be done to him, and similar to what we saw the last time we saw the Joker. It was with someone who appeared to be a scientist who was providing him with the ashes that he used to control the flames, and I suspect that that's what they're using, using the ashes of the infernals, or using the infernal's body, whatever the case might be, to actually create other weapons and things like that. And if they do in fact maintain some of their humanity, then that's just inhumane. What I am wondering, I understand that that our team, they're investigating the other 7 companies, but exactly who is Akitero reporting to, right? The 3 arms that they mentioned, the Hajime Industries, the church, and the army, they all could potentially have something to gain by these infernals running amok, right? We've discussed it several times before, and if they do have something to gain, I don't see why they would approve an investigation. So who exactly is Akitero reporting to? The other thing that I didn't mention last episode, a bit of nitpick in the last episode, is was the battle itself. While I enjoyed it, it was one of the better fights since the season has started. It was a bit inconsistent, and that bothered me to some extent. But I'm hoping that we see that if it's going to be that way, that it's consistent going forward, right? Again, as I said before, I can understand Shinnor, second generation, he can create flames. But why is he able to kick a car like it's a football? So there are some little inconsistencies with abilities that I noticed. Just in the last episode, I didn't see anything like that before. Or is it a case where, okay, the second generation, not only are they imbued with the ability to create fire, but they have additional strength that goes with it as well? I mean, if you're not new to anime um, or comics or anything like that, then you do know we've encountered characters who are parakinetics before, and they do not have super strength, right? So it's something that I'm hoping, if that is the case, that is consistent going forward, and he can be that strong in his other battles, because we don't see that in his other battles. It was just this last episode that it was just so apparent. It just struck me because I'm like, we've seen him fight before, both Arthur and Maki, and he never displayed that kind of strength. In fact, he seemed to be lesser of the two when it came to that, especially against Maki. But so if it is going to be that way, be consistent with it throughout, right? So hopefully, but again, that's just a little nitpick. Hibana, of course, very interesting character. Seems to be a dominatrix type character, and she's the leader of the fifth company. And one of the things that came up, I mean, of course, she looks down on the eighth company, of course, but she seems to look down on absolutely every single person, especially males. So her team seems to be comprised mainly of women, at least the ones on the front lines, right? Because when she was back at her headquarters, the guys that were there giving her the information, they were males. But that seems to be her thing. She seems to look down on people, look down on males even more so. It's an interesting character. I get the impression she's just there mainly for fan service than anything else, which I don't mind. But it does raise a question of what she brings to the table versus what Akitoru brings to the table. The different captains. We've only met, I believe, 3 so far. The captain of the first company, Hibana, who's of the fifth, and Akitoru, who's of the eighth. I don't believe we've met any others. But I do like the fact that the leader of this company that's investigating all the other 7 is the only guy that doesn't have any abilities at all. So that I do like that aspect of it. It would have been nice if maybe Shinra didn't have any abilities. That would have been interesting, but it depends on where they're going with the story. So let's see how that play out first. But from the looks of it, and I'm hoping I'm wrong, all the other companies seem to be goddamn corrupt and complicit in this mess that's happening. We don't know that completely yet, but I mean, I don't know. Akitoru seems to be the only guy who's genuinely trying to do his job. I do hope, I mean, over time, I imagine we will be introduced to others, and he's at a disadvantage because his team is relatively small, and Hibana did point that out last episode that she has a scientific research team, and he doesn't have anything like that, and his team is noticeably smaller than she is. So he has his work cut out for him. He does. I am still wondering what's happening with the competition that the rookies are supposed to be engaged in, though. We haven't touched back on it, and we only saw that 2 episodes ago, that one test that they did, and that was interrupted by the Joker. So is it that it's postponed? I don't know. I do want to get back to it because I do want to see different ways in which the abilities can manifest themselves, especially after seeing Hibana fight, because I'm still not completely sure. I know she's second generation, but how the heck was she? One, it started to rain when she arrived. I'm not sure how it is she's able to manipulate the weather. And she was able to put, is she second or third generation? Because she put Shinra's flames out, which would suggest that she may be third. But at the same time, when she took out her weapon, her fan, she was able to create flames. So I'm not quite sure whether she's second or third generation. So hopefully, I think they did say second generation when she appeared on screen last episode. But how was she able to? I don't know how was she able to put Shinra's flames out, right? And it wasn't just the flames; it was like his, she sapped the strength from his entire body, and he just fell. Of course, he wasn't down for long, which suggests that there may be a limit to that ability that she has. So I imagine that maybe that's something unique to her based on what was happening with her eyes. Maybe that's something that's an ability that's unique to her. They call her Princess Hibana. I do wonder whether it's some kind of bloodline ability or something like that. So that's interesting. All right, guys, episode 5. Let's check it out. My God, Aris, this is a church. Who is she with? We saw. Oh, that's Hibana, right? So they knew each other.
昨日第五の連中とてんやわんやあって分かったと思うが、あいつらは怪しい。戦闘も視野に奴らを調査するぞ。
オービ大隊長、それはもう筋トレではなく筋トレに近い何かです。
That's to maintain his strength. That's the only thing he has working for him.
我々の一番。おいお前ら、今は大事なミーティング中だ。無駄話をするな。
中隊長、冗談でも銃を人に向けないでください。
俺が冗談を言うように見えるのか。
ラートム。
俺の足が、俺の。
No, relax. There's no blood.
なんともない。なんでエアが。
ひなわ中隊長も私と同じ第2世代ですよ。自ら発火はできませんが、炎の操作は可能です。火薬の爆発を弱めて殺傷能力を落として発砲し。
I thought it was like Obi and wasn't one of the second or third.
これからはそれも相手にしていくんだぞ。朝。
俺は冗談でも一般市民を焼くなんていう第五の連中を許せません。あのプリンセス大隊長は何者なんですか？
第3世代消防官プリンセス火花。突如灰島から現れ出世し、今の地位に上り詰めた。調べでは違法にホムラ人を研究し、データを切り売りして出世したようだ。お前の足とアーサーのプラズマは役に立つ。
Are they even allowed to do that? I imagine there's some regulations that they can't fight each other or something.
もうやめてくれ。ジャリジャリジャリ。黙れ。私はお前の殻。強くて美しい私のために敷かれてるジャリ。
It's a weird experiment.
あの笑いは引きつっていた。第五の連中と何かあったのか。なあアーサー、シスターに何かあったか知らないかな。
何か用か、持たざる者が。私には分かりませんが、姉さんがやっていることは危険なんでしょう。それも太陽神様に反する背徳な研究。それが姉さんの理想なの？私の前で修道服など着るな。姉さんどうして？消防隊のシスターなんてただのお飾りなんだよ。くだらないことに身を捧げ、お前はいつまでも
calling her Nissan because she's a sister or because she's her actual sister?
お前らが崇めるのはいいもしない。
Wonder whether they're outmatched or not, but at the same time, we haven't seen anyone on Hibana's team fight yet, really. Just her.
第五の連中、お前が内部に入って暴れ回れば、こっちも動きやすくなる。行け。
はい。
アーサー続け。援護してやる。
中隊長たちも気をつけろよ。
来るぞ。
I'm not sure when taking on a captain you guys should really be splitting up. I'm guessing he's no pushover.
ここは危険だ。畑に帰れ。
あまり大悟を嗅ぎ回られては困る。研究していた薬の投与でこの焔人の火力が向上。良い検体を手に入れてご機嫌だぞい。
Is he controlling him or he's fighting for him?
この剣に。
なんだ。
中隊長下がって。これはすごい火力。
ザク8が無酸素状態の風船ガム新鮮な酸素を得た可燃性ガスが大爆発。それが俺トールキシリのバックドラフトバブリッシュガム。
It's weird.
次
You have to know where his location is.
マキ、どこから攻撃をされている？
あの倉庫からです。対象は奥の方でしょうか。確認できません。
十分だ。
どこ撃ってんだ？
着弾で起こった火花で再び弾に変化をつける。
何？
情けない。
He's my new favorite
うちの
character.
新人はこの程度で値を上げないぞ。マキ、資料のありかをそこらの隊員から
I
吐
can't
かせる。
remember his damn name.
待ちな。フィフスエンジェルス3。
わしの研究で強化した焔人が
Why
消
is
し
he
済み
in
に
front
し
of
てやる。
being him? Is what I want to know.
増強された火力を一点集中させて放つ新兵器。死体も灰も残すなよ。
危ねえ。貴様、騎士の照り焼きにするつもりか？
照り焼き？お前バカだろ。
騎士だ。
状況は？
お前マジに特殊消防官かよ。ビビってんのか？手応えがねえし。
The problem here is he's a close range fighter and this guy is long range. He needs to get close to actually do anything.
カッコつけてるだけのバカが騎士？負け越しの負け犬がいいとこだぜ。
俺は騎士でも騎士王だぞ。
うるせえ。ザコがしゃしゃり出てきた褒美にせめて苦しませながら殺してやるぜ。
なぜだ。全く力が出せない。死で。なんだ、おかしいと思ったわ。
数字がいろいろ。
That was easy.
フィフスエンジェルス3、3人じゃないのか。さすがにもういないよな。
Nope.
シンラたちはうまくやれてますかね。
Rematch with Princess, I guess.
ここだ。
Alright, so there we have it, episode 5 of Fire Force. Very interesting episode. One of my favorites, I have to say, if nothing because of the lieutenant. I've got to say, since I've started watching the series, didn't particularly have a favorite character until now. I think Hinawa is his name, Lieutenant Hinawa. While Shinra is an interesting character and his backstory, losing his mom and his brother, and the reasons why he joined the Fire Force. I feel for him, but he's the exact same as every protagonist that I've come across in shonen over the years. There's nothing special about him, really. And I usually tend to, gravitate more towards the silence intensity characters. So Hinawa is definitely going to be my favorite character going forward. He's he's a stickler for the rules and by the book, but at the same time, his abilities are just goddamn ridiculous, and some more ridiculous than others. I can understand. Like you said, he's second generation. I can understand him being able to control the impact of the bullets by controlling the gunpowder, right? But once the bullet leaves the actual gun, there's no way you're able to manipulate the trajectory at that point. No. Just no. But it's anime logic, so I'll work with it. I mean, and what I like about his abilities, although, I guess it sort of depends. I want to say he's one of the few that's can be used in both long range and close range capacities, but at the same time, if he doesn't have a gun, then he's kind of screwed. But I can see several different ways in which he can actually use his powers, and we saw it on display there how he was able to control the trajectory of the bullets, and that was just damn impressive. It was impressive. And even with using his sniper rifle. So I'm that guy who plays, whenever I do play those first person shooter games, weapons, long range weapons are usually my weapon of choice, right? Metal Gear Solid, whether it's Battlefield or whatever the case might be, always go for a sniper rifle. So that alone makes me like this character, and he's gonna be my favorite character going forward. That is not gonna change. So we finally have our team actually attacking the Fifth Company, which initially when they said it, I found to be odd, because I imagine the company, much like in our world where you have different fire companies or different police, departments, right? One department can just get up and choose to go and attack the other without some repercussions, right? You'd be locked up, or there are rules against that stuff. So it's just weird that they can just get up and say, okay, we're going to attack the Fifth and get that research. And I mean, Hinawa said initially that because they've been doing shady research, then they won't dare report the fact that they were attacked. But at the same time, they did say initially that the reason that Hinaba was able to get her captain status was by selling information, that same shady information, to the fire companies to get her position. So they're already aware that she's doing shady stuff. That's how she got her position in the first place. So and I imagine that, given that the everyone's aware, you attacking the Fifth Company, you're the one who's going to look like you're in the wrong. So the logic wasn't quite sound on that one. But at the same time, I mean, it's still earlier on. I don't believe they're gonna find anything that they're looking for now. So in some ways, it's probably gonna end in a stalemate somehow. I don't know how as yet, but it's gonna end in a stalemate somehow, and they'll meet again later on. We finally got to see Arthur in action. We didn't get a whole lot of that before, and even though we were introduced to him, we saw him do a couple moves, but nothing that impressive, to be honest. He hasn't impressed me up until this point. And interestingly enough, I don't know, I found this episode weird, or his battle to be a bit unusual, because I thought that, okay, he's, maybe someone is manipulating him, because, we have second generations who can manipulate fire, and maybe someone manipulating his abilities to use his plasma sword, whatever the case might be. But then at the end of the fight, they make it appear as though, oh, he forgot to use the right hand. I'm sorry, but it just seems silly and jarring in the middle of the fight. Wouldn't he be able to use his plasma in any hand, whatever hand he's using, or I mean, his right might be his dominant hand, but that doesn't, I don't know, it just didn't make any sense to me. So I was rooting for him for the entire fight because I wanted to see him do something, and all he did was, oh, oops, I had the sword in the wrong hand, and then close the gap, which I don't imagine why you couldn't have done that before. Your hand, you're not running with your hands, and was able to kill the Infernal. So I don't know. I was looking forward to Arthur's fight the most, but I was disappointed the most, to be honest. It was very underwhelming. But Maki and Hinawa definitely stood out to me this episode. They are without a doubt my two favorite characters in the series so far, Hinawa and Maki. Didn't get to see much of Shinra. He's, of course, I imagine he's going to have his rematch with the princess. Where is Obi? I am wondering. I thought Obi was... I figured while everyone was busy causing a ruckus that Obi would have snuck in where Hinaba is, and he would take her on. Although he's not, and she's a third generation. He's not either second or third. But that's a fight I would want to see. He's the captain. He's still the captain, and I imagine even without any abilities, he can probably still go toe to toe with seasoned, experienced fighters, right? Because he has the experience, he has the strength, the abilities, and he's damn near heavy armor. So that's something I want to see. I want to see him go up against. I love seeing the other characters, and their abilities are magnificent, but he's their leader, and I mean, he's the heart of the team, fine, but a leader needs to demonstrate strength as well. So I want to see his strength on display, or intelligence. I mean, you don't have to have abilities to be the stronger of the captains, right? He could pretty much be more intelligent than they are, or more strategic than they are, and be able to set traps and use his weapons effectively enough to actually beat one. So I do want to see that. So no Obi, very little Shinra. I mean, a little revelations where Iris is concerned, and I don't know. Since the series has started, Iris has been in the back. They've never gotten much about her. She was introduced in the first episode, but after that, she just came on the scene after the Infernals were put to rest, and she just prayed for their soul and to the Soul God, and then she goes back, and we don't see her again. So we saw her at the end of last episode, and then she just jumped in the spotlight this episode, and it appears as though she's Hibana's sister. She keeps saying Nissan, and I keep wondering if it's a translation error, and she's trying to say sister, because they're both sisters from the same church. But so I'm wondering, because Hibana keeps referring to her as sister, and she keeps saying Nissan. So is it her sister, or is she just saying sister and someone messed up the translation, and someone messed up the subtitles, and she's supposed to be saying sister and not Nissan. So I'm not sure if they're related or not. So I'm going to go with the former and think that they're supposed to be sisters from the same church, and she's supposed to be saying sister Hibana, not Nissan Hibana, until they reveal otherwise. Because it's weird, just the one is calling the other sister and the other is just saying that Nissan. So I'm not quite sure. There's no acknowledgement that, okay, we're siblings. The only thing we saw was them with several other sisters at the same location. So not sure. I'm guessing they're not sisters, and maybe someone just messed up the subtitles. But from what I can tell, they're just sisters, and they knew each other when they were being trained. And now they're on opposite sides, I suppose. But it doesn't explain the difference in behavior, because the flashbacks that we saw, it was a totally different person. And now she just seems crazy as hell. I mean, I can understand research to rise to the top, through the ranks, because as she said, the sisters are basically just, to make the company look good, right? Like they're doing the right thing. You arrive on the scene after the mayhem, and you pray and make everyone feel as though everything is all right. And so I can understand that from where she's coming from there. I can understand it. And perhaps she learned what the what the truth is. And so from her perspective, there's no way to stop them from continue doing it, so she just took advantage of it and catapulted herself to the top and become captain, because being a sister, and I've said before since the very start of this series that Aris is the one that impresses me the least. And I said before, I liken her to an RPG game because I'm a big RPG person, and usually in RPG games you have your main character, you have your tank, you have your thief, and you also have that one healer, right? And the healer or the white mage, and for me that's what Aris is. She is the white mage here, but at the same time there's no innate abilities. And I said before, I think episode 1, that I wished when she's actually putting the Infernos to rest that there was some visual cues, some light around her or something to show what is being done, what's happening. But I guess that may confuse people with her having an actual ability, whereas she may not have any. So I can understand why something like that wasn't used. But what is her purpose? I don't know. She doesn't. I imagine they have one on every team. Maybe I don't see one on Hibana's team. But she's the least impressive character so far. And maybe, who knows, they're fleshing her out a bit more now with her background with Hibana, with her history with Hibana. So perhaps in the future as we learn more about this character and she develops a bit more. But maybe that will change. For now, she's kind of at the bottom of the pool for me. But we'll see. We'll see. I imagine that the church has a bigger role to play in this than they've let on. And based on Hibana's comments, that very well might be the case. The church knows more than they're actually saying. So that alone is enough to keep me interested in her, in the character. So I want to see where they take her, right? I don't want them to just give us this backstory and then next episode she's in the background again and we don't see her, and then we go back to focusing on the other two characters. And Maki, yes, more Maki please. Every time there's Maki, it's an awesome scene. Give us more Maki and more Hinawa as well, since he's now my favorite character. So definitely my favorite episode so far since the season has started. I'm looking forward to seeing more and that final showdown. Where is Obi? I want to see Obi in action, so hopefully we get that in the next episode. Alright guys, be sure to post down below, let me know what your thoughts are on this episode. Hit like or subscribe, and I will see you guys next time.